Hi, guys, and welcome to the Truth Factor. Hello, 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 and welcome to the Truth Factor, guys. We have headlines with an attitude today. There's not a whole lot, but there's a handful, so it won't take us long. So we're just going to jump right into it here, guys. All of the articles are in the Wixit in the description in the box below, guys. So, um, oh, hey, MG, how are you, brother? Uh, Here we go. All right, we're gonna just knock them out in the order we got them in. Um, Yay. But before we get started, we need to do a moment of silence in honor of First Lady Rosalind Carter. I believe her funeral was today, I think, or yesterday. I don't even know anymore. But I do know that they were putting for today and yesterday they were doing the half mass. Anyway, so moment of silence, please. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. I know what I was from the other day. I don't want to hear. All right, guys. That was for Rosalind Carter. For those that are joining us, we just gave a moment of silence for, and out of respect. She was a very beautiful woman. She had a heart and love, very humanitarian. Anyway, now let's do this Hal Turner article, guys. We've been talking about all the banking issues that have been taking place, and here this isn't really a banking issue, but it has more to do with the dollar itself. So here that United Arab Emirates officially stopped using the US dollar for oil trades. The global financial landscape is witnessing a seismic shift as United Arab Emirates boldly moves away from the US dollar in its oil trade dealings. This strategic pivot aligns with a broader ambitions of the BRICS economic alliance, of which the UAE is recent addition. The changeover involving the transition to local currencies for oil transactions marks a significant departure from the long-established dollar dominance in the global oil market. The BRICS bloc, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, recently expanded its membership to include the UAE, along with Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and Argentina. This expansion signifies a growing inclination towards de-dollarization amongst these nations, a move that challenges the traditional hegemony of the US dollar in international trade. The UAE's decision to prioritize local currency over the US dollar is a clear reflection of this sentiment. This move isn't just a mere policy shift, it's a strategic maneuver in the complex chess game of global economics. By aligning with the BRICS nations, the UAE is not only diversifying its economic partnership, but also reinforcing its position as a global powerhouse. This change could potentially reshuffle the cards in the international oil trade, impacting the dollar's stronghold and introducing a new era of currency dynamics in oil transactions. Ongoing catastrophe for the U.S. The shift away from the U.S. dollar is some distance arcing thing that which doesn't affect you. It is affecting you already, and it is getting worse, much worse. In fact, it's going to be a catastrophe. You see, since 1970, all sales of oil worldwide have been transacted in dollars. Everyone who sells it sells in dollars. Everyone who buys it buys it in dollars. In order to do that, every country on earth needs to hold dollars in its central bank. Now the countries are starting to sell oil in currencies other than the dollar. The central bank around the world won't need to hold all those dollars. They will still send those dollars back to the United States, and they convert these back to our currency. As dollars come back to the U.S. and other country currencies are exchanged, their currency will rise in value compared to ours. Our currency will fall in a value compared to others. Now, we don't manufacture much of anything here in America anymore. We import a lot. of what we want. So we need to import. The value of our money is going to be worth less and less compared to foreign countries, meaning what we need will cost very, very much more. Inflation will hit the US in almost every sector because the thing we need to import costs more and more dollars that are worth less and less. Moreover, at some point, hold on just a second. Moreover, at some point, guys, countries may decide that the U.S. Is being so far in debt makes our currency worthless. They may decide to stop selling anything to us in U.S. dollars. Despite being universally accepted nowadays, the fear of our currency becoming worthless is real, right? Because there is literally nothing backing our currency. Governments, oh, goodness sakes, hold on, guys. Governments keep going further and further into debt until some point people around the world will simply not take our money anymore. Then what happens? And when that happens, the shortages and supply chains disruptions seen during 19 will look like kid games. The government to blame, the sole entirety responsible. No, goodness sakes. I don't know what the heck is going on here. There we go. The sole entire responsibility for the trouble of the U.S. government. The sole entire responsibility for the trouble of the U.S. government. Hold on, guys. Always wanting you to do something here. All right. There we go. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, my goodness sakes. Oh, goodness, guys. It's been a long day. We have been running. Let me say hi to everybody. Hello, Invader. Hello, Ryan. Again, hello, NG. Hello, Lady Groundhog. And Daryl, Curious George. Hello. And Rip Curl. Hey, how are you, brother? Okay. So, anyway, the sole entirety responsible for all this trouble in the U.S. federal government, specifically your member of the U.S. House of Representatives and your U.S. senators. It has been these people who have literally spent the country into oblivion. They voted for each and every dollar spent, which had to be borrowed. So as they come back from Washington to backslap, glad hand, and kiss babies, they know that these people who are personally responsible for wrecking this nation and ruining everything you and your family have worked for. More importantly, these people who have misused their positions to impose economic sanctions on country after country around the world, telling those countries, if you don't do what we want, then you can't use our money in your trade. All these countries are tired of the U.S. meddling in their internal affairs, so they are moving away from the U.S. dollar so that the U.S. cannot sanction them anymore. The result will be hyperinflation for us and wrecking of our country, all because they will not stop meddling in other people's business. And, they're still meddling. They're trying to, dictate how Israel handles its own affairs, of course. It is what it is. Hello, Dirtman. How are you? It is. Groceries are kind of crazy, aren't they? Anyway, let's go on to the next article. All right, guys. So here we have the Panama Canal. Chaos might spread to the Suez, Greek shipping executive warns. The giant bottleneck building at both entrances of the Panama Canal might spread to Egypt's Suez Canal. This is according to Bloomberg, which quoted a top executive at Greek shipping from Angelosius Group during a conference in Athens. Savine Stoll, the company deputy chief executive officer, said Suez will need to take a lot more vessels because the drought-stricken Panama Canal has sailing restrictions. He noted that the Suez Canal, which serves as an alternative route for the ships traversing between the U.S. and Asia, has historically managed congestion issues very well over the years, making it less of an issue. But obviously, it's something you need to be aware of. The bottleneck at the Panama Canal has only allowed companies that pre-book slots to sail the canal. Stoll said, he said only 4 or 5 LNG vessels are sailing the canal each month, down from about 30 before restrictions were put in place earlier this year. If you can't go to the Panama Canal, you must add one more ship for the same volume, he said. Where do you get that ship from? That's is going to be a challenge. The Panama Canal is one of the world's most important trade routes. In the second half of the year, we have detailed in depth about parking a lot of commercial vessels buildings on either side of the canal amid worsening drought conditions across Central America. This has reduced the number of ships sailing through the waterway as bottlenecks have forced one of the world's largest operators of chemical tankers to reroute its fleets. Bloomberg reports the London-based Stolt Nelson has begun to charge customers for longer routes, avoiding the massive bottleneck at the Panama Canal. The canal has been battered by severe drought this year, caused the El Nino phenomenon, and as a result, the canal authorities have imposed sailing restrictions to 25 a day. And if the conditions worsen, restrictions could end up with only 18 vessels transiting the waterway daily by February. For some context, the maximum number of sustainable bookings is between 38 to 40 per day. Now, guys, there's just a little bit more, but I wanted you guys to hear the how low they're considering, and they're giving it to by February. So it could be down to 18 a day, guys. It's not a good thing. It's going to make things cost a little more if it takes more ships to bring you what you got to have. If you have to go another way, it's going to cost more because gas and all this and that, right? Anyway, not good. We also have this here, guys. Now, there's so much to be said about this. There is so much to be said on this article right here, guys. It is absolutely just it's crazy. This is your first time to this channel. Well, welcome, Curious George. Welcome, Georgia. Welcome, Curious Georgia. Jason in Virginia. Hello and welcome. Daryl brought you here. Okay. Welcome. All right. So, thank you, Daryl. We have the special counsel Jack Smith demanded info on Americans who favored or retweeted Trump tweets, newly released doc show. Now, guys, there is so much wrong with this because, guys, guess what? If they're going to go get all this information on people that like to tweet, and that's really what this is about. This is if you liked a tweet or if you retweeted it. This doesn't even have anything to do with you traveling to, say DC for the J6. This is if you just liked a tweet, guys. And so guess what? That tells me that they are going to maybe make good of Harris's laughing comments about coming for Trump supporters. This is not good at all. But let's look here at this article, because to me, this is probably the most important article of the day, in my opinion. All right. So special counsel Jack Smith demanded information on Twitter users who liked or retweeted former President Donald Trump's tweets landing up to January 6th, right? So all the way up until January 6th, right? According to a heavily redacted search warrant and other documents released on Monday. Smith's comprehensive search warrant sought the 2024 Republican presidential primary frontrunner search history, direct messages, and content of all tweets created, drafted, favorite, liked or retweeted by his account from October 2020 to January 2021. The special counsel also demanded a list of all devices used to log into Trump's then Twitter, now X account, as well as information on users who interacted with the then president in the months leading up to January 6, 2021, the court filings show. Among the information Smith sought were lists of all, looky there, guys, all Twitter users who favorited or retweeted Trump's tweets, as well as all the tweets that include the username associated with the account and mentions or replies. And here, if you guys can read it, there's, the little excerpt from the legal documents. The special counsel also requested a list of every user Trump followed, unfollowed, muted, unmuted, blocked, or unblocked, and a list of users who took any of the same actions with Trump's account during the aforementioned time frame. There is no benign or reasonable justification for that demand, wrote former FBI agent whistleblower Steve Friend on X. Smith demanded the information as part of a special counsel investigation into Trump's actions leading up to January 6, 2020 riot in the U.S. Capitol in August. Smith formally lodged a 4-count indictment against Trump, accusing him of a massive criminal conspiracy to reverse the results of the 2020 election. The court released the warrant after multiple media organizations filed a Freedom of Information Act, the FOIA request to obtain the document. 8 of the search warrants, 14 pages, are completely redacted. The New York Post reported. The warrant included a non-disclosure ordering instructing the company not to notify Trump about the search. The social media giant objected to the order, arguing unsuccessfully that it is the violation of the First Amendment and the Stored Communications Act. The DOJ argued back that notifying Trump would result in a statutory cognizable harm. For what appears to be the first time in history, Twitter has filed a motion to vacate or modify in order that it is not disclosed the existence of a search warrant. Smith said, adding that there is reason to believe the notification to the former president, a sophisticated actor with an expensive platform, would result in a statutory cognizable harm. X ultimately complied with the warrant, but was fined, get this, $350,000 for failing to meet Smith's demand by the deadline, according to the Federalist. Trump's legal team has since appealed the order, calling it unconstitutional, and has threatened to take the matter to the U.S. Supreme Court. And I hope that he does at this point in juncture. And guys, if you liked or did whatever to his tweets, if you followed him, didn't follow, whatever, unfollowed him, y'all, you might want to maybe, do the same. I mean, this is unconstitutional. This is not even, outside of, harassing people that like Trump, that's all that to me appears to be, because there's nothing that I could see that could lead to evidence of any sort. But, hey, what do I know? I hear you, Watchman. I hear you, brother. Anyway, so I think that's huge. I hope you guys will let me know in the comments what you feel about that one there, guys. Okay, so then we have the Biden pressure on Israeli tactics will leave Hamas intact and in power. This here's from Breitbart, guys. A source within the Israeli government told Breitbart News on Thursday that the U.S. Biden pressure would lead to Hamas surviving the war intact rather than allowing Israel to destroy Hamas or remove it militarily and governing capabilities. In recent days, the White House has acknowledged that Israel intends to continue fighting Hamas after the current pause sought by Biden to allow the release of hostages ends later this week. The Israelis have been pretty clear that once the pause is complete and the hostage exchange is over, they will intend to continue their military. This here is again from White House John Kirby, right? However, the White House is no longer clearly stating that it shares that goal. And the Israeli government privately believes Biden is prepared to tolerate the survival of Hamas, despite the fact that Hamas and other terror groups would see that as a victory. So, again, if anybody has been paying attention to all of this, I'm not going to read anymore. But I think that you guys can see where this is going. We definitely seem to be, backstepping just a little bit on this support for them. It's not so much now that they have the right to defend themselves, in my opinion, because if they do, then you allow them to do what they started to do in the first place, right? But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So we'll see how this goes, how this fares. But that is a really good read there. If you're interested, it is here in this Wixit. Then we also have from, now guys, this is from End Time Headlines. And I'll tell you, every day it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. We have from End Time Headlines, China is ordering supposedly the cover up of this mystery pneumonia outbreak that is continuing to spread. Now, if you guys remember, China came out and said there's no mystery to this. I mean, we've covered that. They've said it's the mycoplasma pneumonia and just regular flu bug type things. But here we have, an article saying that now they're trying to do a big cover up. We know how cover-ups went last time, right? Or at least that's what we were told, that it was that they were covering up and suppressing numbers and all kinds of stuff, right? Why is anybody shocked here? I don't know. But anyway, Chinese officials have been ordered to downplay this pneumonia outbreak raging across the country, and Insider has claimed. Now, guys, the word mystery is there, but I'm not going to read it because I just don't. You come out and say it's something that it's not, then let them come back out and prove it. But until they come out and prove that it's a mystery, they say that it's the other. I'm going to continue to say it's not a mystery. Okay. Anyway, Beijing has also ordered medics not to reveal the cause of the illness and urged officials to avoid using the term 19, according to the source. The new wave of pneumonia with unusual symptoms has swept through China and forced the country to bring back face mask and social distancing. Guess we couldn't see that coming, could we? In a chilling, echo of the pandemic, hospitals have been overwhelmed with sick children, particularly in the north of the country. While fears of possible new pandemic are growing, an insider from China's top leadership has claimed that the country's top officials have been given a secret directive, purportedly straight from the Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Speaking to the Epoch Times, the insider said the order instructed officials to downplay the current outbreak and avoid using the term 19. Authorities have been ordered to refer to the outbreak as either a mycoplasma pneumonia infection or influenza, she said. Major foreign media outlets stationed in Beijing also received the order, which makes it clear that no interviews are allowed to report on the so-called mycoplasma pneumonia infection or influenza. Domestic media are also prohibited from making any comprehensive reports on this outbreak. That is just like pretending this never happened. The insider also reported that a number of hospitals have set up makeshift clinics to cope with the rising number of patients. She continued, the affiliated hospital of Popeye University makeshift clinics is already put into use primarily for children receiving the IV drip treatments. Most cases have been reported in Beijing, Tianjin, and Lilang Providence, while concerning footage showed hazmat workers disinfecting streets and buildings. Despite the surging number of cases, especially in children, China insists that the outbreak is caused by the flu and the usual winter bugs rather than a new virus. Beijing has told the World Health Organization that the increase in cases of people with flu-like symptoms is down to multiple known pathogens, returning stronger than ever despite the exact illness still being a mystery to doctors. The alarming spread of the disease comes as the nation enters its first full winter season since lifting strict COVID restrictions last December. While an illness caused by the known pathogens like mycoplasma pneumonia has been circulating since spring, children are now showing ground glassy opacity, also known as white lung syndrome, in lung scans, an indicator of severe respiratory illness. Following a spike in cases in the country, the U.S. Center for Disease and Control and Prevention said it's in touch with the local health authorities and its country office in China. The CDC spokesperson, Jasmine Reed, says its initial reports indicate that there has been a simultaneous increase in a number of known respiratory illnesses, resulting in a spike of hospitalizations. We continue to monitor the situation, collaborating with the global health partners. As hospitals are overflowing with patients suffering from undiagnosed pneumonia, the Epoch Times report that 9 renowned scholars have died in the course of a week. Wow, guys. So now we've had 9 renowned scholars die in the course of a week. Hmm. 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 Wow. Wow. Wow, guys. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway. We also have a solar flare caused moderate radio blackouts as more solar storms are heading towards Earth this week. Space weather forecasters say powerful M-class solar flare created a high-frequency radio blackout event on Tuesday, and multiple eruptions from the sun have prompted a geomagnetic storm watches for later this week. On Tuesday, the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center said an M9.8 solar flare created a moderate HF radio blackout event at the associated flare was recorded by NOAA's GOES 19 satellite. The HF radio degradation was possible over the eastern portion of the South Pacific Ocean when the flare was in progress, according to the NOAA. The SWPC said because of the recent activity, it's possible for the more M-class flares and slight chance for X-class flares, the strongest of the NOAA scale. Solar flares are classified by the strength with 5 categories designated by the letters M, and X-class flares are also the strongest. An X-class flare is the largest explosion and can produce as much energy as 1 billion atomic bombs, according to NASA. The SWPC said more associated solar eruptions are earthbound. At least 3 coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, happened on Sunday, sending clouds of plasma from the sun toward Earth. CMEs can be taken 1 and 3 days to the can take between 1 and 3 days to reach the Earth's atmosphere. When multiple eruptions from the sun happen, one event can take over the other, producing back-to-back solar storms. Forecasters expect the first impact from these solar particles to arrive as early as Wednesday evening as a potential glancing blow or near Earth, with the next round of solar arriving with at least glancing blows by Thursday. NOAA has a 5-point rating scale for solar storms, ranging a G1 to G5 model. Suggests G1 minor levels are possible on Thursday and G2 moderate levels on Friday as an additional CME arrive. So there you go. That is what we have for you today, guys. I will tell you, it is quite interesting, all of this stuff. Anyway, I've got a couple of articles that I'm going to cover in Bible tonight that I find interesting, but they are really and very important, but they're more biblically based. And so if you want to hear my rant tonight on Bible, please join us It'll probably be about an hour here, or maybe less. I don't know. But we will be going live here within the hour, I'll say, probably close to 5 for Bible. I hope you guys will join me. And then I'm going to bed, guys. I'm calling it a day. I'm going to talk about a dream and some words that I've received. And some scripture that I think the Lord wants us to cover. So I hope you'll join me. We always pray for everyone that needs prayer. So if you need prayer, you could put the comment in a prayer in the comment section, and we will pray for you. Anyway, God bless you guys. I love y'all. We shall see you guys later. Bye.